When they teach us that we live in an electromagnetic universe, we all go, wow, it's amazing. But it's a subtle deception because it's a magneto-electric universe. The magnetism comes before the light. So if we grew up believing that light comes from, as a consequence of sound and magnetism, we get light, we'd see physics and science and cosmology very differently. At some point, some stage, some omnipotent field of consciousness, you can call it God, the creator, I don't know. I just ended up calling it God. I've come a long way around. For many years I was scared to call it God because God had so many different connotations and religious connotations and so forth. And eventually now I just said, you know what? It's God. It's God, the creator of everything in the universe. We can't put a name to it. We just know that everything that exists here is not a consequence of tiny little particles bumping into each other randomly, all over the place and creating everything in creation. Because remember, that's the story that they're trying to teach us in evolution. From the simplest amoeba and just like billions of particles, the Big Bang comes and these billions of particles, an infinite number of particles, just bump into each other randomly, and out of those particles bumping into each other, suddenly they create everything. This is really important. This is why Slave Species of God is such an important book. Although it is quite dated now, and a lot of stuff needs to change, the basic foundation of this, the basic premise, it still stands, which is the most important premise. And this is why the word God is spelled with a small g on the original book. Slave Species of God with a small g, not God with a big G. Because it seems like the Anunnaki were the beings that had the knowledge of genetic manipulation, genetic engineering, the way we have today. We're cloning species, we're doing shit that people don't even know is happening, genetic labs and biolabs and so forth. We know how to clone things and clone humans and clone creatures. So did the Anunnaki. They knew this millions of years ago. And so they cloned a new species. And it seems everything points to the fact that we are the species, or we're the descendants of the species that they created. And that's why it's spelled with a small g. Just because you got the knowledge of genetic manipulation doesn't mean you created the heavens and the earth. And there's a big difference. So the Slave Species of God, the most important job that book does is to draw the distinction between God with a big G and the gods with a small g.